what up? What up? We here. We here. I'm Moedotj, and you're at the number one spot for the P Valley recaps. Hey, we on episode 3 already, man, and it's going down in P Valley, man. I'm loving this show. But before we get started, we on that grind to 2,000 subscribers. So, hey, shout out to the notification gang. And if you're new to the channel, hit your subscribe button, turn on your notifications so you get something every time I upload. Like I said, I'm Moedotj, and if you haven't seen me before, I'm not gonna hold you up. We're gonna jump right into it. This is episode 3 of P Valley. P Valley, P Valley, man. Shock value is what they go for. The opening scene is always shock value. We got the beautiful Mercedes on the stage doing her thing, and we got some dude in a suit. We like, who is this random guy? But as they talk, he's watching her, and she's dancing all on him. She's all up on him, and you can tell he like, dang. Turns out he's a coach for some team up in Memphis. I don't know if it's a basketball team, probably, because he's talking about, man, look, I'm trying to bring you up to Memphis, put you in a skybox. It might be like a minor league baseball team. And she's like, okay, that all sounds good, but what would your wife think? He's like, man, don't worry about all that, man. I'll handle that. You should let me bring you up, put you in the condo, and take care of you like I should. It turns out this dude is living a fantasy. So she's really dancing for him. But the whole time he's blocking out everybody. So he thinks it's just him and Mercedes. And it turns out everybody's in the club. He just couldn't see nobody because he was so focused on her. And what she tells him is, in real life, you couldn't afford me. You can only afford me in this fantasy. Pretty much, she gonna run the checkup on you if you try to bring her back to Memphis. Good old Mercedes, man. So my baby Miss Autumn Night, you know what I'm saying? She got the white wig on. She looking for something new, you know what I'm saying? The new stripper, you know what I'm saying? She got to be the new norm. So her and Gidget, they find the blonde wig. Gidget gives it to her. At this point, they show Autumn back in the club. She's getting drunk. She's all over the club, just drinking and wilding out. So she's been in the club for a while, and she's like, man, I got to get me some drink in my system if I'm going to be continuing, you know what I'm saying, to make it through these nights. The whole time, Andre's texting her, talk about last night was crazy, you know what I'm saying, hope to see you again, smiley face and stuff, but she ain't responded. Fellas, if you text a chick and it says one day and she hasn't responded, don't text her again, man, because then you look like Andre and you look whack. If she ain't text you back, maybe you send one call, but after that, leave it alone. If she ain't hitting you back, she ain't feeling you. But Autumn has to come and talk to Uncle Clifford, and we already know the situation. She's trying to get that ID back. And what Uncle Clifford tells her is, no ID with no T. Pretty much, Uncle Cliff wants to know, I'm calling him Uncle Cliff. Uncle Clifford wants to know what's going on with the casino. You need to figure it out before I give you this ID. And you got to do what I say because I will tell on you about doing whatever fraud you're doing with this fake ID. So Autumn's in a little predicament now of what she's going to do, how she's going to get back in with Andre. So interesting to find out that Andre's godfather pretty much is the mayor, Mayor Ruffin. So he's pretty much telling him like, hey, you know what I'm saying, we got things in order. We're trying to get this land to get the casino to go. And his uncles tell him that ain't how we gonna do it. We gotta be a little crooked out here. That's how things are ran down here in the valley. You know what I'm saying? Like, in order for us to get something, we gotta do something for somebody else. And Andre is pretty much, he's kind of cut straight and, you know what I'm saying, straight and narrow, but his uncle's trying to tell him that ain't how we're gonna do it down here, man. If we gonna get this land for the brothers Corbin and the other two, then we're gonna have to do some crooked stuff. And Andre's pretty much like, man, I'm not feeling that. But just like any other show and in real life, we know politicians got to be crooked to get their points across. Unfortunately, Andre's tied up in it. He's working for his uncle. I'm glad we found out that these two have a connection, the mayor and Andre. I guess that's why he's going so hard for it, because if he gets that land, then, you know what I'm saying, Mayor Ruffin, then he gonna really be making some money for the city that he can scheme off of. After the little incident with Uncle Clifford trying to get her ID back, Autumn's like, man, dang, I really need to get this ID, because if y'all remember, she had a transaction of $9,000 she sent to herself. So that's the main reason she's trying to get this ID back. She got a text message. She's seen Andre's messages. She didn't reply. She seen it's like, ugh. And then she also seen the little Telemax place saying, hey, you got to claim this money today or the wire is over with. So she ends up giving in. You know, when your stomach gets rumbling, she called Andre like, hey, let's meet up. You know what I'm saying? Let's get something to eat. Pretty much, she's using him for food and to try to get this information on the casino. So while they're talking, she acknowledges that Andre is married. She sees the ring. His wife's name is Brittany. He goes back and forth to Atlanta to see her. But you know, Autumn's got to get that food in that stomach, and she got to find out this information about the casino. So she ain't worried about it. And then a random old man starts talking to him like, "Hey man, y'all know the history around here? Y'all may know a little bit, but if you don't know about the history on the mounds, you need to go check that out." And Andre's like, "Yeah, my grandma used to take me up there," but the old man said, "But you don't know the actual history." So during all this, Mercedes and the Trinity they come in, you know what I'm saying? Mercedes, Miss Humpback, Mississippi, and Gidget. They all come in. They put all the food on my boy Andre, you know what I'm saying, on his tab. And when he gets up and leaves, you know, Miss Mississippi like, "Hey, make sure you tip for this." If I was him, I would have said, "Nah, I'm not tipping for y'all meal. I got Autumn's and that's it." But before he leaves, Autumn said, "Hey, I want to go see the mouse." Mm-hmm. So then all the girls like, "Okay, okay, you got your little main," you know what I'm saying? Get just like I turned my main into my boyfriend. Mississippi is like, "Hey, I'm chilling," you know what I'm saying? And Mercedes, being the HBIC that she is, she's like, "Man, this girl anorexic, man. She, I don't, it's something about her. I don't like her." But that's Miss Mercedes for you. Uncle Clifford out here styling and profiling. This, oh man, Uncle Clifford wilding out, man. He out he out in the cotton field talking to Corbin with the damn umbrella and stuff that you seen him in like 1930s. Uncle Clifford wilding out, man. But hey, it is what it is. But pretty much he's talking to Corbin. It's like, "Hey, you can't be doing business in the casino because you know girls run their mouth in there and you talk a lot." So Corbin's like, "Yeah, I'm trying to make some money though." And what he does is he slips up and tells her like, "Yeah, I'm not trying to make like $1 million. I'm trying to make like 10 million." So Uncle Clifford is like, 10 million? So if there's a casino and my strip club is here, I'm straight. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, we're gonna be in the money. But he's pretty much saying, "I'm trying to lease my land out, but I gotta convince my two brothers to do the same thing instead of selling. Instead of making 1 million, maybe $2 million, we make like $10 million in generational wealth." I'm like, hey, I'm with Corbin on this. Got to make as much money as possible. But before Uncle Clifford leaves, Uncle Cliff makes a comment talking about, "Hey man, put some sunscreen on. We don't want you getting black out here because we know Corbin is the bastard child of the three brothers." Miss Mercedes pulled up on her mama like, "Hey ma, F what you talking about? I need that 20 bands ASAP." And the mom's like, "In the house of the Lord?" She's like, "Man, forget all that. I need that money." Her mom's pretty much like, "All right, I'll cut you the check. You know what I'm saying? You'll get the money." Mercedes checks her phone and sees the girls on her dance crew wilding out, twerking, talking about bad bitches link up. You know what I'm saying? We got a party cracking off this weekend. So she pulls up on the kids like, "Oh no, y'all not about to be doing all this twerking and stuff on the fence with my, you know what I'm saying, with my dancer's name on you guys' shorts promoting a party. Nah, y'all not doing that. Everybody, hey, squat, back to backs. Let's go. Let's hold it." So she's pretty much like, "Hey man, y'all don't want any information like this, you know what I'm saying, to shed any negative light to be on internet of you doing this stuff." And one of the girls like, "Well, we want to express our information." And Mercedes like, "Man, forget all that. Forget all your feminism. You don't want this on the internet, especially these girls, what, 13, 14 years old? You don't, you know what I'm saying, you don't want them twerking on the internet and stuff." And one girl yells out, "Well, if you could do it, why can't we?" And Mercedes gets in her face. So there's a little connection between these two. And she's like, "Well, I do it and I get paid for it." Like, dang. I mean, she has a point. Y'all just kids. So after that, she gets mad. She like, "You know what? Hey, I don't know if they call heel touches or feet touches, but she got the girls jumping up and hitting their feet. She talking about 50 of them. They start complaining. She like, "You know what? 75." And that's what, I guess that's equivalent to us doing up downs of football. But I'm like, 75? Hey, coach, I quit this, man. Especially as a kid. I'm like, nah, I'm good. This kid's playing basketball. You got us doing this? Hey, I'm out, coach. Like I said earlier, the Trinity, the holy Trinity of the club is Miss Mercedes. We got Miss Mississippi and we got Gidget. So they coming out, they working on these moves. I'm talking about some crazy stuff. Mercedes at the top, Mississippi across the middle, Gidget upside down, and they just twerking and going crazy and and then Mississippi like, "Oh, hold on, y'all, I'm hurt." So she goes in the back in the little kitchen, and guess what? My boy Diamond's in there, man. And Diamond's just in there chilling. So pretty much he's talking to him. We already know that there's like a little chemistry between these two. So what he does is he asks to look at her injury. So she fell on her wrist and he looks at it. So he starts chopping up some pepper, and then he puts it inside of a towel and he puts some alcohol on it and he wraps it around the arm and pretty much tells it like, hey, this has been in my family. My granddad was using it while they were in the war to, saying heal any injuries. And she's like, oh, it's working. But right at that time, you hear old Hayden, Uncle Clifford in the back talk about, girl, bring them big old things in here. You know this baby hungry. And so she ends up leaving Diamond. She goes back in the back to take care of her kid. And Diamond throws his apple in the trash can like, dang, man, I ain't getting no chance. Hey, Diamond, from me to you, just ask for the number, bruh. One night when you escorting her to the car, just ask for the number, bruh. Get the number and bill from there, man. So after a hard days of work, the Trinity, they come out and they actually performing it live now. And I'm talking about everybody's going crazy. I'm talking about perfection. These women are truly artists what they doing. I'm talking about they upside down twerking. They coming down the pole, splits, going crazy, man. And this whole time, my babe, Autumn, is at the bar drinking, drunk, and the bartender's like, hey, man, you gotta slow it down for real. Like, you drinking too much. So she gives Autumn another drink and it's water. She's like, oh, man, this is water. So Autumn starts walking around, asking random people, hey, you want to dance? Everybody like, man, you don't get your drunk tail on somewhere. She creeps up on the stage. Mind you, when she creeps on the stage, the Trinity, they still up there going crazy, and Autumn is drunk. And I'm like, man, I'm trying to see what's going on the stage. Autumn, get out of here. Autumn, my girl. But I'm like, hey, get out of here for a second. She goes up there stumbling and stuff. She gets on the pole. She climbing up. And Mercedes is a professional. So for her, she's like, all right, this girl's drunk, but I'm not going to mess up my set and make a big scene. So she's just dancing with her. Autumn ends up falling on the ground. Everybody's like, oh. So what does Mercedes do? Improvise. She gets on top of her and starts dancing with her to make it look like it's the act. She's putting her hands on her. She's selling it. It's looking good. I'm like, hey, this look bravo, bravo, bravo. You know what I'm saying? Good show. As soon as the show's done, they go into the back. Mercedes puts Autumn against the wall like, hey, don't ever come on my stage, man. You won't ever touch my pole again. And if you do, I promise I'm going to put my foot in your tail. And Autumn's just like, oh, man, they liked it. But nah, man, you messed up something. Mercedes takes this serious, and she's trying to get out the strip club. Like, you just got in. She's trying to get out, and you're drunk, man. So it wasn't a good look. Of course, they're clashing. So they started here. I put them after episode 3. I put them like this far apart. But I'm pretty sure they'll end up, being further. So your boy Lil Murda, he pulls up on DJ Never Scared, picks him up for school, and they drive off. Pretty much he's meeting up with Never Scared because Uncle Clifford told him, hey, you need to get some better beats and figure out what you're going to do to actually get your music played. So he picks him up, drives him out to the bridge, they chilling and smoking. And he's pretty much just like, hey, man, what's wrong with the music I already have? And the DJ is like, hey, man, that stuff's all right, but, man, you got to make that sound, man. You got to have, like, what they doing in Atlanta, that music, that's what you got to have, man. You ain't got that yet. And then he starts pretty much going off and talking in a foreign language about, yeah, you got to do your beat like this. You got to have your 808s like this. And Murda's like, man, all I know how to do is rap. I don't know how to do all that. But he's like, man, you get this down, you'll be straight. So I think they're going to probably work together. I'm thinking DJ is going to, make them a beat like, hey, man, this is the beat you need to rap on. And it's going to be a good song. Probably like episode 5 or 6, man. That's where I got him getting on the scene. So he pretty much, DJ Never Scared, pretty much like, hey, man, you can come to the house. You know what I'm saying? My mom's cooking, you come and eat. And Lil Murda makes a little joke like, yeah, you going to be my stepson one day. You know your mama love me. So I guess these two, they know each other from a little ways back, but I don't know why he never went straight to the DJ to get his music. So Autumn and Andre, they meet back up and they actually go see the mounds and they go up there. They do a little bit of talking and stuff. They race to the top. They get up there. Andre taking pictures and stuff, doing his job while he's out there. He's like, might as well do some business while I'm, with old girl. So they go out there and they talking. And then she gets up in his face like, let's really go and talk. They end up going back to Andre's hotel. They get in the room. It's going down, man. I'm talking about like, man, I'm over here. Like, man, hey, bro, that's my girl, but I can't do nothing about it. But I'm just looking and watching and everything's going down, but she stops. I'm like, hey, man, you got a rubber? He's like, nah. So they stop, and before he leaves to go get one, she's like, hey, can you unlock your computer, so I can look at some, some flicks to keep this going. So Andre, he leaves. You never leave your computer unlocked. He unlocked the computer, and she went in and started looking at everything, all the files for the casino. and even finds the picture of him. So when he comes back, he actually sees that the computer's open, she's gone, and the picture of her is up. That morning at the end of episode one, remember he was taking pictures. He took a picture of her early in the morning. So to her, it pretty much seemed like some stalker stuff, man. But now she got all the information, emailed it to herself, and you ain't supposed to be disclosing this information with nobody. Andre, you really messing up, bro. You can come to my school, Mac, in 101. Mississippi and Gidget, they doing a little dancing out there. And out of nowhere, you see two random guys come in. It's a black guy with a flower. He ends up taking Mississippi off stage. And then Gidget leaves with her boyfriend. Remember, she said she made one of her regulars her boyfriend. They go back in the VIP room. They kissing and stuff. And she's all over. Uncle Clifford comes in. Y'all notice Uncle Clifford is everywhere. Uncle Clifford don't play around when it comes to his club or his girls. But he comes in like, I knew y'all be in here. So he's pretty much talking to Gidget's boyfriend like, hey, you know what I'm saying? You can't be leaving your stash around here no more. You know what I'm saying? I did that one time. I'll do it this last time. But he's pretty much saying, man, everything is backed up. Like, man, people are watching the roads and stuff. So you got to let me leave this stuff here. Plus, I heard you selling marijuana wings. And Uncle Cliff like, man, we only doing that because we about to be legal. But so he's transferring drugs, trafficking drugs, but he's using the club as a, you know what I'm saying, as you get to one spot, you need a checkpoint where you can, you know what I'm saying, lay your stuff low, do what you got to do locally, and then get back on the road. Uncle Cliff was like, all right, and left with some stacks. So he's selling perks. So I think now we're going to get a little bit of Gidget's story. Gidget asked for some of the perks, and what she's trying to say is, you know what I'm saying? Let me get some of that oxy and some of them perks to give to Mississippi because she hurt her wrist earlier. And he's like, are you sure you're not trying to give it to your mom? So I'm thinking we're going to get to introduced to like Gidget's mom maybe next episode or in the next two episodes. So that's going to be another interesting story that we're going to get to follow. Slowly but surely we're finding out more and more. So the girl Terica, the one that I showed while they were out there doing their little extracurricular activities, Terica is Mercedes' daughter. Terica had a party, the Bad Bitches Link Up party, at her aunt's house. The aunt is Mercedes' boyfriend, Cortez's sister. Cortez is dead. Terica, the daughter, lives with the aunt. She now has custody. So while Terica and Mercedes are arguing about what was going on, Terica's like, man, me and the girls, we were just having fun. Mercedes like, nah, you can't be doing that. You're an attractive young woman, and it's gonna be some dude with some lame game that's gonna talk to you. You're gonna feel wanted. He gonna have you in the bathroom with your panties around your ankles, and you're gonna end up pregnant or something. And 13 and pregnant ain't cute. Terica tells her mom like, hey, well at least if I have a daughter, I'm not gonna give her up like you did. So now we get to see what's actually going on in Mercedes' life and why she has such a big connection with the girls dancing and trying to bring in the kids because her daughter is one of the girls on there. Now the aunt comes in and she's like, this is ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? You knew that this party was going to happen and you didn't stop it. I told Cortez, Mercedes' ex-boyfriend, or we don't know if they were married or anything, but Mercedes' baby daddy that's deceased, that I'm going to take care of his daughter no matter what. So you need to stay away, Mercedes. I don't want her doing none of the dancing and stuff. We're just going to focus on school and get her head on the straight path. And Mercedes is like, man, I don't like, you know what I'm saying? The only time I get to see my daughter is when we on the dance crew. So this is going to be real tough between her. And I can see why she definitely wants that money. She wants to try to get her daughter back in her life as much as possible. Every time you look up Andre messing up, you know what I'm saying? Whether it's with his uncle or his godfather or with Autumn, and now it's with Uncle Cliff. So, or the two brothers, the three brothers. Now it's with Uncle Clifford. They bring him into the dream room. He gets a text message from Autumn, but it was really for Uncle Clifford. Uncle Clifford took the phone and texted him, say, hey, meet up. Password is apples. Come in here. When Andre gets there, he goes in there. He starts talking, thinking that it's Autumn, because you see the wig, the wig on Uncle Clifford. Turns out it was Uncle Clifford. And Uncle Clifford's like, listen, I got a little bit of tea on what's going on with this casino, but now I want you to spill everything. I want to know everything that's going on and how I can make some money. So Andre's pretty much telling Clifford, hey, I can't tell you none of that stuff. It's confidential. Clifford opens up the laptop and he shows like all the zones. So there's a river, Pink Valley, and then the land from the brothers. Clifford's like, there must be a bridge from this land over here to the river because Pink Valley's in the middle of this. So what are you trying to do? X me out of this? You need to talk to me, because if not, we're gonna have some problems. And Andre's like, man, I can't talk to you about that. Uncle Cliff's like, all right, you gonna talk to us about this one way or another. You gonna talk to us about this. So as Andre gets up and leaves, he walks through the VIP room, and for some reason, the guy that had the flower for Mississippi's laying there like she's dead, and she looks and sees Andre. So I think she's gonna try to figure out some information of her own on this Andre character, or what's going on with the club. Since Mercedes is trying to leave, she might be trying to become the number one. As Andre is leaving, he calls up his Uncle Ruffin like, hey, we're gonna have a problem. You know, they didn't figure it out about the casino. Then we get to see Miss Autumn for the last scene, and she makes it to the little bank, and she's getting that $9,000 deposit. She's very nervous because she's trying to show this raggedy ID and trying to get this. So the teller's like, man, luckily you made it. We only had 30 minutes, and this wire was going to expire. As she gets the money, Autumn looks up at the screen and she grins. She just got $9,000 for doing nothing but transferring it. Like, hey, if I don't know a quick come up, if I see one, this is one right here. All right, there we go. Episode 3 of P Valley Recap. Before I say anything else, comment below what do you think the relationship is going to be like between Andre and Autumn now that he knows she gave up all of his information about the casino to Uncle Clifford. Comment below. But hey, I'm Moedotj. Thank you for watching, man. Hey, if you're new to the channel, like I said, you like my content, please subscribe, turn on your notification bell, like, comment, share. Hey, thanks for watching. We'll be here next week for episode 4 of P Valley.
Jimmy on the beat, boy.